Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Gimmick Puppet Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post-Immortal Destinies. This is a really awesome deck. I'm looking to build all the decks from the Immortal Destinies booster pack, starting off with the Gimmick Puppets, because after looking through all the cards that are in the set, I actually saw that Gimmick Puppets were the one that are pretty much the easiest to build. They have the all super rare rarities for the majority of the important cards in their deck. No ultra rares, kind of sharing that trend with the Cyber Angels from the previous pack. But it's a really fun deck. The whole point of the deck is to get out really big rank 8 Exceed summons, then use the rank up spells to rank them up into the different chaos forms for the 3 main ones. We've got a lot of new support, which definitely does help out with the consistency of the deck. So really happy with the results. Also, just it's very easy to build now as well, because they gave us a good amount of the cards that you need for the deck in the Immortal Destinies booster packs. Let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, for the monsters, one of your most important ones in the deck is still Gimmick Puppet Dreary Doll. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish one other Gimmick Puppet monster from your graveyard to special summon this card. You can only use this effect of Gimmick Puppet Dreary Doll once per turn. It cannot be used as a material for an Exceed summon except for the Exceed summon of a Gimmick Puppet monster, which isn't really that difficult since it is our main focus to summon out your Gimmick Puppet Exceed monsters in the deck, and no other Exceeds otherwise. It's good for the link plays. It doesn't limit us with the link plays, obviously. So you have those options available to you with this card. You just really have to have that graveyard set up for your other Gimmick Puppets, but with Link summoning being a thing for the new Gimmick Puppet Link monster, it's much easier just to set up other monsters in the graveyard along with Dreary Doll to special summon this card out. And I also run 3 of the new terrifying Gimmick Puppet Terror Baby, a level 4 Gimmick Puppet. When this card is normal summon, you can target one Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard except for Terror Baby. Special summon it in defense. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate card or effects in response to the activation of your Gimmick Puppet monster effects. So it just gives you an easy special summon, which the new Gimmick Puppet Link monster, which we received in Hero's Revenge, is a Link 2 monster, making it very, very easy to summon out that monster using Terror Baby in the deck, and then also just being able to protect against your opponent's own effects by banishing this card, let's say after you use it for the summon, is another added benefit that definitely does come in handy for the deck. And I want to run 3 Gimmick Puppet Bisque Doll, but sadly was only able to pull the 1 of it in the box I purchased. Still looking to get more of the packs as well, but for now I just have the 2 Gimmick Puppet Destroy in here as a substitution. But you definitely want to run 3 Bisque Doll. You can special summon this card from your hand by discarding 1 Gimmick Puppet monster, and you can banish this card from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot target Gimmick Puppet monsters you control with card effects this turn. So you have so many other banish effects with this deck. That's crazy just how easy and consistent you can be with the protection of your Gimmick Puppets as well with your other cards. So very, very useful. Just also, potentially set up Dreary Doll in the graveyard using Bisque Doll, so then you can obviously summon it back to the field as long as you have the other Gimmick Puppets, or even for the fact that you can special summon Bisque Doll and then obviously just normal summon Terror Baby and then special summon the Dreary Doll you discarded with that card. And I also run 3 Gimmick Puppet Humpty Dumpty. I almost thought they weren't going to reprint this card in the set. Very, very glad that they did, just for how useful it is still in the deck. When it's normal or special summon, you can special summon 1 Gimmick Puppet monster from your hand. You can only use this effect of Gimmick Puppet Humpty Dumpty once per turn. So you have just that consistency to get out another Gimmick Puppet from your hand. The biggest weakness I had beforehand with this deck is that obviously I would have Humpty Dumpty, which is a level 4, and then let's say I got Dreary Doll or Magnet Doll out on the field. I'd have a level 8 monster and a level 4 monster. It couldn't do much with it, but it's an entirely different story now with Chimera Doll being a very useful link monster for the deck, being able to set up your other plays and also get some of your other Gimmick Puppet monsters in the graveyard for you to make use of. You just have that consistency with the graveyard now, having other options for your extra deck to special summon monsters out to the field. So it's a very, very useful play as well, using 3 of this. The fact that it has 0 attack and 100 defense is irrelevant, just for the fact that you're going to use it immediately for your plays to special summon out other monsters. And I'm also running 2 Gimmick Puppet Magnet Doll. I decided to stick to 2 of this card just for the fact that you have to have minimum 1 on the field. If your opponent controls a monster and all monsters you control are face-up Gimmick Puppet monsters, minimum 1, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's not a free special summon. Otherwise, I would definitely run it at 3 if it just, if your opponent controlled a monster to special summon this card. The fact that you have to have at least 1 Gimmick Puppet monster on the field is what decided me to run it at the 2 mark. But if you wanted to run 3 just to try out the consistency see, I can show you what to take out from the spell count just to add in an additional number of Magnet Dolls for the deck. Still very easy for the special summon though when you rely on the other combo play I said before, let's say with Bisque Doll to special summon out, and then if you're one monster short of a Exceed play after you get the Link monster out, having the Magnet Doll in your hand definitely does come in handy. And then lastly, to finish off the monsters, I'm running 3 Desperado Barrel Dragon. I really do like this card in the deck for the fact that it is a level 8 dark machine type monster. It also works very, very well with your Gimmick Puppet monsters when they're destroyed. If a face-up dark machine monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. And once per turn during the battle phase, quick effect, you can toss a coin 3 times, destroy face-up monsters on the field up to the number of heads revealed. Then if the result were 3 heads, draw 1 card. This card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 7 or lower monster that uses a coin toss effect from your deck to your hand. The last effect is not useful in this deck, obviously, but it's an easy special summon if your opponent takes out one of your machine monsters, and then they have this card on the field to worry about, which can easily destroy their cards with the toss of a coin flip, with the additional draw power as well. I know that Desperado Barrel Dragon isn't that easy to come by currently in the format, so if you're looking for something else to replace this card in the deck, you can try out, Hand Traps. You can try Effect Veiler, Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre to replace this spot. I just really like it for the fact that it is a machine level 8, so it works with the consistency for a lot of cards in the deck as well. Even for the fact that Chimera Doll, I keep referencing the Link monster, but it's really, really good when we get to it, just needs 2 machine monsters to make it also. It doesn't even require the Gimmick Puppets to make it, and a lot of our Exceeds in the deck also just need 2 level 8 monsters to summon them out. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I decided to run 2 Junk Puppet. I dropped it down, I believe. It's been a long while since my last Gimmick Puppet update. I used to run 3 of this, but I just like it for the fact that it's a once per turn. So if it was less, if it obviously was more than once per turn, I would definitely run 3 of it. But I just don't want to load my hand with too many of this card, then not have more options to use it with. You target 1 Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and you can activate 1 Junk Puppet per turn. Easy special summon, 4 cards on the field. You can even summon the Exceed monsters back onto the field, and then if you have the rank up spell in your hand, use that to rank it up into a better card with material attached. And I'm also running 2 Perform Puppet. This is the new continuous spell for the deck. You can banish 1 Gimmick Puppet monster from your graveyard. All monsters you currently control become that banished monster's level until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. And if a face-up Gimmick Puppet monster you control is destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 of your banished Gimmick Puppet monsters, special summon it. You can only use each effect of Perform Puppet once per turn. So it has that level adjustment, which if you're going for your rank 8 plays, you even have the rank 4 plays in the deck with the new Exceed monster. Depending on whichever one you want, this card helps to align the levels to summon them out, and also just being able to get back your banished resources with this card is another added bonus. And you also banish your Gimmick Puppets for a lot of different effects also, so there's that thought too with the deck. And I also run 3 machine duplication, plenty of low-level machines. Once you get one out, you can easily special summon multiples of them from the deck to the field to give you more cards to work with, and just having multiples of the same card definitely doesn't, minus you at all in any way. If you get out the Dreary Dolls, you have your rank 8 play there, you have the Terror Baby play for your rank 4 Exceed. 3 machine dupe, definitely. If you open this card up in just one other machine monster, then and none of them are in your hand, you have that easy benefit to plus off of the special summon. And I also run 3 trade-in. This one, you run plenty of level 8s in the deck, so just additional draw power, and it really doesn't shut you down with Junk Puppet being in the deck. To special summon them back to the field to use, just for the potential to also get the draw 2 with this card definitely does help. And I'm also running 2 Allure of Darkness. I really do like this card for the fact that with Perform Puppet, it doesn't specify that you need to use the cards you banish to special summon back. So even if you banish another Gimmick Puppet with Allure of Darkness and then you use Perform Puppet, you can then summon back the cards you banish with Allure and then get the added draw as well when one of your other Gimmick Puppets on the field is destroyed. And then I also run 2 Rank Up Magic Numeron Force. This is the rank up spell I decided to use with the deck. You target one face-up Exceed monster you control, special summon from your extra deck 1 number C monster with the same type as that monster you control, but 1 rank higher, by using it as the Exceed material. This special summon is treated as an Exceed summon, and Exceed materials attached to it become the Exceed materials on the summon monster. Then if any face-up cards are on the field other than this card and the monster summoned by it, negate the effects of those other cards. Just potential to stop a lot of your opponent's other cards, but also very, very easy to summon out your Chaos Exceed monsters for number 15, 40, and 88 also. So I like to run the 2 of them in the deck just for that consistency. You won't always go for all 3 Chaos, which is why I decided to run just the 2 in the deck, just to keep things less cloggy as well with your draws. You do want to open up your main plays for your Link and Exceed plays first. And also stop your opponent from shutting down those plays. I run 3 Call by the Grave just because they can stop a lot of cards in your deck from special summoning using their hand traps or just negating effects on the field. The biggest one, obviously, when I try to use Humpty Dumpty and my opponent effect veilers it, stopping that special summon and then just leaving this monster all out on the field alone. So definitely like to run 3 Call by the Grave. And then lastly, to finish off these spells, I run 1 Monster Reborn, just more special summoning with the Junk Puppets. Definitely useful there for sure. And then for the traps, probably one of the most important cards in the deck is this trap, surprisingly, Puppet Parade. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon Gimmick Puppet monsters with different card names from your deck up to the difference. Then your opponent's life points are at least 2,000 higher than yours. You can set 1 Rank Up Magic normal spell directly from your deck. And for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except Gimmick Puppet monsters. And you can only activate 1 Puppet Parade per turn. But the fact that you can set up your Rank Up spell and then get a bunch of the different Gimmick Puppet monsters out onto the field with this card definitely does come in handy for that setup, especially when your opponent goes first. Then you just have this to rely on, or even if your opponent just is going to set up a big board and go after you, you can easily set up the field with a lot of different Gimmick Puppets as well. And then to finish off the main deck for the traps, I just like to run 2 Trap Trick. This card's very easy to get now with the Mega Tins, so for people building this deck, it's not too difficult to use also, but just for the fact that it lets you activate the card by banishing a normal track from your deck, really, really useful with Puppet Parade, which is why I like to run 2 of this card also in the deck. And that is it for the main deck. When I move on to the extra deck, I run 1 Gimmick Puppet Gigantes doll. You need 2 level 4 Gimmick Puppet monsters to make it, which is why I also stuck to just the purest version of the deck I could with Gimmick Puppet monsters. For these plays, you can detach 2 Exceed materials from this card, then target up to 2 monsters your opponent controls. Gain control of them until the end of this turn. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon monsters except Gimmick Puppet monsters, nor declare an attack except with Exceed monsters. And you contribute the cards all monsters you currently control become level 8 until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Gimmick Puppet Gigantes doll once per turn. So, attributing this card after getting your control of your opponent's cards definitely do help for your Exceed plays. You're basically taking their resources to use with this one out on the field, and then making use of them for your own plays, just for the use of 2 level 4s. So they'll never see what happened with them, turning them into level 8s, and then obviously, like I said, using those monsters for your own plays. I definitely want to run more than just one of this card, but I'll show what cards to take out of the extra deck for the additional numbers as well. And then I also run 2 number 40, just another strong boss monster for the Gimmick Puppets, just with the string counters, then the destruction of the special summon by detaching the cards with string counters for those plays, plus the fact that it has 3,000 attack, very, very useful as well. I have 1 number 15 Giant Grinder and 1 number 88. If you don't want to run the 88, it's more of a win gimmick, no pun intended, kind of play for the deck. So you can add an additional Giant Grinder for that instead. It just has easier special summoning with Giant Grinder to target a special summon monster for the burn damage for its original attack. So if you want more consistency with those plays, you can take that out instead. And I also run 1 Chaos 15, 1 C40, and then also 1 C88 for the Chaos monsters in the deck. Once again, just very strong Chaos monsters to get out with Numeron Force, but if you weren't running number C88, you could take out the C88 and the 88, and then just put in an additional C40 Chaos monster or C15 for those spots as well. And then I also run 3 of the Gimmick Puppet Link monsters, since sometimes you're limited to your Gimmick Puppet plays. Chimera Doll just needs 2 machine-type monsters, and during your main phase, if you control this Link summon card, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon monsters from the X deck for the rest of this turn, except for Machine Exceed-type monsters, and then you can add 1 Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. And if a monster you control are Gimmick Puppets, you can special summon 1 Gimmick Puppet monster from your hand, and you can only use the effect of Chimera Doll once per turn. It has setup for both the hand and graveyard, so with this card you can get ready for your Exceed plays very quickly, which is why I love running 3 of it, just for the fact that it's very easy to summon out in the deck and very useful for your plays also. And then to finish off the extra deck, I run 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and the 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice. I don't really go into these cards as often, so if you wanted to swap them out for additional numbers, I would definitely recommend taking out some of these cards to add in more Gimmick Puppet Gigante's Doll for that spot. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.